The New Zealand Blood Service needs to collect approximately 3,000 donations every week to meet requirements, which are split up into whole blood, plasma and platelet donations. We're currently looking for whole blood donors to become platelet donors. Platelets only last 5 days and can help patients undergoing chemotherapy and those bleeding after trauma or surgery. Platelets can play various roles. The most important is stopping bleeding. In many cases, this can be a matter of life or death for the patient. Platelet donors are a special group of donors who donate just their platelets and some plasma. The most efficient way to collect platelets is by a process known as apheresis.
Apheresis is a terminology, it's a Greek term that means to separate.
So that involves using a centrifuge to separate the blood products from the donor. They get their red cells returned back and we either collect a full bag of plasma or platelets.
Not all blood donors are suitable to give this type of donation. First, a blood sample is taken to establish whether the donor has a sufficiently high level of platelets. Nurses will also assess the donor's veins and ensure they meet additional eligibility criteria before they're asked to join this very special panel. Platelet donors can be expected to be called regularly, usually every few weeks. Sometimes this can be at short notice to ensure critically ill patients receive the life-saving platelets they need. Appointments are essential as platelet donations take longer to collect and beds are assigned so that an apheresis machine will be available for each donor.
I've been a platelet donor for 2 years now, and I donate platelets just to make sure that there's always some supply there to be used.
On arrival, the usual registration and confidential interview is a mandatory requirement each time, even for regular platelet donors. After the needle is inserted, blood flows into a special machine where the platelets are separated from the red cells and collected in a special bag. At the end of each collection cycle, the red cells are returned to the donor before another cycle begins. Depending on the machine, it is standard to go through 8 to 10 cycles to collect enough platelets. A big feature of platelet collections is that one donation normally provides enough platelets for 2 or 3 patient doses. The collection process takes between 1.5 and 2 hours to complete. Once collected, the donor samples are tested for all of our standard tests for blood groups and infections: HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C and syphilis. The platelet concentrates are stored in special shells that rock gently from side to side so that the plastic bag can breathe in oxygen, let out carbon dioxide and help keep the platelets fresh and active. The platelet concentrates are then released and available for dispatch to blood banks in the hospitals. Platelets only last 5 days, which is why regular platelet donors are needed. Occasionally, cardiac surgery and major trauma patients may need 2 or even more doses of platelets to help control severe bleeding. New Zealand Blood Service is constantly looking for suitable donors for its special platelet panels. If you're interested in joining this special group of blood donors, please contact one of our apheresis centres for more information.